Life had finally returned to its normal rhythm after several busy weeks at work. Monday mornings, endless meetings, coffee breaks with Emma, and occasional weekend outings with friends had become part of Daniel's routine once again. Although life wasn't particularly exciting, he was content. There was something comforting about ordinary days. They might not be filled with adventures, but they provided stability. And after years of chasing success and worrying about the future, Daniel had learned to appreciate the simple moments. One Tuesday afternoon, while organizing some reports at the office, Daniel received a message from an unknown number. "Hey, Daniel, it's been a long time. Guess who's back in town?" He looked at the message and frowned. There was no name attached to it. Curious, he read it again. "Guess who's back in town?" For a moment, nothing came to mind. But then, another message arrived. "Still terrible at guessing, I see." Suddenly, Daniel's eyes widened. "Ryan?" Almost immediately, a reply came. "Took you long enough." Daniel couldn't help smiling. Ryan Mitchell, his best friend from high school. The two of them had practically grown up together. They had spent countless afternoons playing basketball, watching movies, and dreaming about what life would look like when they became adults. Back then, they had promised each other that nothing would separate their friendship. But life had other plans. After high school, Ryan moved to Australia with his family, while Daniel stayed behind to attend university. At first, they kept in touch regularly. They exchanged messages, had occasional video calls, and shared stories about their new lives. But as the years passed, responsibilities increased, schedules became busy, and little by little, their conversations became less frequent until eventually they stopped altogether. Nearly 8 years had passed since they last saw each other. 8 years. Daniel immediately called him. "Ryan?" The voice on the other side laughed. "Still alive, buddy." Daniel burst into laughter. "I can't believe this." "Neither can I." "When did you get here?" "This morning." "And you only texted me now?" "I wanted to surprise you." "Well, mission accomplished." Ryan laughed. "So, are you free tonight?" Daniel looked at the mountain of paperwork sitting on his desk. "I don't care if the office explodes. I'm free." That evening, Daniel arrived at their old favorite restaurant almost 20 minutes early. Excitement made him feel like a teenager again. Memories flooded his mind as he remembered all the crazy things they used to do together. He remembered basketball games that lasted until sunset, arguments about movies, failed attempts at learning guitar, and the endless jokes that only the two of them understood. Suddenly, someone tapped him on the shoulder. Daniel turned around, and there he was, Ryan, a little older, a little taller, a few gray hairs, but the same smile. Without saying a word, the two friends hugged each other and burst out laughing. "Man, you got old," Ryan joked. Daniel laughed. "Look who's talking." They sat down, ordered food, and immediately picked up where they had left off 8 years earlier. Surprisingly, the years apart seemed to disappear within minutes. The jokes still worked. The laughter came naturally. Even the awkward silences felt familiar. Ryan talked about his life in Australia, his job, and the experiences he had gained over the years. He described the beautiful beaches, the long road trips, and the challenges of living far away from home. Meanwhile, Daniel shared stories about his career, his friends, and the ups and downs he had experienced. Hours passed without either of them noticing. At one point, Ryan smiled and said something that made Daniel laugh. You know, I was worried. Worried about what? That we'd become strangers. Daniel shook his head. Impossible. 8 years is a long time. True. But friendship doesn't disappear just because people get busy. Ryan nodded. I guess you're right. After dinner, they decided to walk around the city. Much had changed over the years. New buildings had appeared, old stores had disappeared, and familiar streets looked slightly different. Yet somehow, being together made everything feel the same again. Eventually, they reached the basketball court where they had spent most of their teenage years. To their surprise, the place looked almost identical. The same benches, the same lights. Even the old vending machine still stood near the entrance. Ryan smiled. Remember when you thought you could beat me one-on-one? Daniel laughed. You cheated. I was better. You cheated. Ryan laughed loudly. Some things never change. They sat on one of the benches and watched several teenagers playing basketball. After a moment, Ryan became quiet. You know something? What? I missed this. Daniel looked at him. The city? Ryan smiled. No. This. What? Having a friend who knows all the stupid things I've done. Daniel burst into laughter. Unfortunately, I remember everything. Ryan laughed. Exactly. They spent the next hour talking about life, dreams, and how much adulthood had changed them. Back when they were 17, they had imagined becoming millionaires before 30 and traveling around the world without worries. Reality had turned out differently. There had been successes and failures, victories and disappointments. Life hadn't followed the plans they had once created, yet neither of them regretted anything. Because somehow, despite all the unexpected turns, life had brought them back together. Before saying goodbye, Ryan smiled. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. What? I'm not just visiting. Daniel looked surprised. What do you mean? Ryan grinned. I moved back. Daniel blinked. Wait, seriously? Ryan nodded. I accepted a job offer here. Daniel couldn't hide his smile. So you're staying? I'm staying. For good? Ryan laughed. That's the plan. Daniel shook his head and laughed. This is unbelievable. Ryan smiled. Looks like you're stuck with me again. As they stood beneath the city lights laughing like they had years ago, Daniel realized something beautiful. Time could separate people, careers could take them to opposite sides of the world, and life could become incredibly complicated. But some friendships were stronger than distance. People changed. Years passed. Dreams evolved. But true friendship had a strange way of waiting patiently, ready to continue exactly where it had paused. And as Daniel drove home that night, he couldn't stop smiling. Because sometimes life gives people unexpected gifts. And sometimes those gifts come in the form of an old friend returning home.